Okay, and we are live and we are recording. So all the things are happening right now. Welcome to Coffee and Coaching tonight, Wednesday, October 9th. This is the second Coffee and Coaching that we've done. So if you tuned into our one that we did last week, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. We are here merely to share some stories about coaching, to share how this business, this community, all of the things involved with Team Beachbody coaching has changed our lives. And tonight we're going to focus just a little bit more on the income, because a lot of people want to know, how can you even make money in this business? My name is Julie Boris. I have been a Team Beachbody coach for 11 years, which is crazy to think. And just as everyone will share some of their stories, and I'll sort of moderate some of that a little bit, this business has changed my life from every angle, from every perspective, in every way possible. Oftentimes when someone asks that question, well, how has it changed your life? I find myself, I can't even put it into words, because sometimes I try to forget what life was like, sort of like before Beachbody, because it kind of sucked in some ways. But also there is a mindset that I came into this business with, that you might find yourself in the same place too, that I knew we needed more income. So I knew we needed the income potential of this business. Yes. Okay, cool. But I also knew that life was okay. We could probably figure out how to make this work. Life was okay. But what I want to say to you is, life can be okay, and you can be okay with being okay. And then you can also want more. It's okay for you to say, you know what, gosh, I'm really grateful for the life that I have right now. I've got to be grateful for what I have, but it's also okay to still want more. And when I came into the business, I didn't even know the income earning potential. I came in so long ago, before anyone was a success story. Now, of course, if you come in as a coach, Team Beachbody is, 12, 13, 14 years old, and you can just Google easily thousands of success stories of coaches who have come into this business and completely changed their lives from the inside out. When I became a coach 11 years ago, there were none of those stories. All I saw were physical success stories. So I didn't even know the income earning potential. And as you just start to share organically what's working for you, and you start to make an impact in a different way, and you start to make an income from that impact, slowly and surely you start to see, I just earned a little money. And the very first check that I got came in the form of a paper check in my mailbox, which I don't even know if anyone gets those anymore in any way. And it was for $38. And first of all, I thought it was so cool that I got paid for something that I loved doing. And that $38 check was about the equivalent of 3 group fitness classes that I would teach live at the YMCA. So that was pretty cool. And I just thought, well, this will pay for my gas this week. And slowly but surely, the business unfolded to me in ways that I didn't even know was possible. The potential unfolded to me in ways I didn't know was possible. And slowly but surely, I started to set different goals, just like all these ladies started to set different goals. You come into it and you're like, I'm not really sure what I can do with it. And as that potential starts to unfold in front of you, you realize that there's not only immense potential in the business. What's even cooler is there's immense potential in you. We all have immense potential in ourselves that for most of us, we're not even tapping into. And the most beautiful part of this business is, I think it allows us a platform to tap into that potential, and to do so in a way that helps others. So we're going to share a little bit of our stories tonight, a little bit of background on how we got started, but also share specifically some of the ways that the business has changed our lives financially. And you'll see the financial disclaimer in the comments, in the chat here on Zoom. And we love the financial disclaimer. You know why? Because it says straight up, straight out, no BS. Your success in this business is determined on your hard work. And here's what's cool. It's like that in everything. So it doesn't matter whether it's Team Beachbody. It doesn't matter whether it's any other job. Your success is determined on your hard work. There's no free ride here. There's no free lunch. You work hard. You change a lot of lives. You get to create some income. And that's what that income disclaimer is specifically saying. So know that going in, that your income, there's no guarantee here, just like any other job. And your hard work, just like any other job, any other industry, will determine your income. And the beautiful part about that, it means it's in your control. My husband is a college football coach here in town, and it doesn't matter how many games we win this year. This is his salary. Here it is. Sign a contract. This is what he's going to make. This is his salary. No matter how many games we win a conference championship, we go to the playoffs, whatever. This is his salary. It's capped. It is what it is. But the cool thing about when you are an entrepreneur and you're in business for yourself, in a business like this, the more people you help, the more income you get to create. There is no cap except on your work and your dreams and your goals. So once you take the cap off that, once you remove the cap on you, then the potential is sky's the limit. It's endless. So we'll start with Jamie. Why don't you share a little bit about kind of how you got started and some of the ways that this business has changed your life financially?
Sure. So I got started 6 years ago last month. And when I was thinking about starting coaching, I never even thought about the income potential. It was just really what it could do for my health and my fitness. And really from day one, I started realizing that, there's maybe something there that I could get into. Didn't really know about it, but, I'm going to give it a shot. And, I'm going to move up 16 months here, but within 16 months of putting in hard work and seeing the potential. So let's take a step back. I was an elementary school teacher. And so then 16 months after getting into the business, I had met my income as an elementary school teacher with Beachbody in 16 months.
Okay,
and,
wait, just say that one more time.
Yeah.
Because that is crazy. So you came in as a coach.
Mm-hmm. I was an elementary school teacher. I taught third grade. And then when I started coaching, within 16 months, I had met my salary as an elementary school teacher.
That is ridiculous.
Months. Yeah.
So here's what I always think about, because I was a high school English teacher, and my income would have been capped, like yours would have been capped as an elementary school teacher. Also, we would have been required to get our master's degrees, and they wouldn't have paid for that. We would have had to pay for that, and we probably wouldn't have gotten a raise or anything. So, right. All of that goes into it too. Not that I didn't love teaching high school, I did. I'm just saying.
Like this a little bit better.
You get to a point where you're at the end of how much money you can possibly make. Going in, it doesn't matter if you sponsor the prom or do this or whatever. This is your money. And for you to come into a business that you had, because you went to school to be an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
And
I knew nothing about business.
Where you knew nothing.
Nothing.
And you had never owned a business before.
No.
And your degree was elementary education.
Yep.
And then in 16 months, you matched the salary of the profession for which you had gone to school for.
Yeah, in which my parents and my grandparents had paid for.
Right. So really, we could stop the call right there. I mean, that's crazy when you think about that, really. If you, you probably don't ever take a moment and really think about that, but when you say that out loud, you're like, what? And that's the potential when it's in your control. Okay, keep going. We just had to take a moment and talk.
Yeah. So 16 months, I thought, and my husband thought, whoa, this is something real. And, like Julie said, I worked for it. I worked hard, but I didn't put in nearly the amount of time I did as an elementary school teacher, because as a teacher, you're constantly working, you're bringing work home, all that. I didn't have those hours. I just had really intentional hours at home to make coaching work for me. So that was 16 months. After 16 months in coaching, since then I have the car that I was driving when I started coaching. I paid it off.
You're no longer teaching.
I'm no longer teaching.
So at the end of 16 months, did you say, yeah, I'm out? Or what happened there?
No. So when my son was born, I was supposed to go back to teaching and told them I was going to take a year off. And so then I started coaching, and then we never went back. I never went back. So, so my daughter, she's in third grade now, and she's like, you're a third grade teacher. Can you just keep me home and teach me here? I'm like, no way. That's why I'm doing this. You're going to school. But anyway, since then I was driving a certain car. I paid that car off by myself with Beachbody money. I've since purchased another car. I paid that car off by myself with Beachbody money. That feels really cool that my husband did not have to help me with that. Every single month, I contribute to my kids' college fund. Again, this is the money that I make with Beachbody. My husband's not helping with that. And just today, I saw my, I don't know if they call them what do they call them now? Hairdressers? Not hairdressers.
Stylists?
Hairstylist, yes. So she said, what are you doing tonight? And I told her, what we were going to talk about, coffees and coaching, and talking about, how the business has worked for me and changed my life. And she said, in both of our industries, we're really helping people, and we love what we do, and our jobs are never going away. And I was like, you're right. There's always going to be people who want health or need health and fitness. There's always going to be people who want their hair done because that's fun, yeah. And she said, our jobs are never going to go away, and we are blessed to do what we do and do what we love. And it's okay to get paid for that, because any service, actually everything, every job, you have to get paid or you can't do it, right? And so if you love what you do and you happen to get paid for it, that's pretty awesome. And this red chair that I'm sitting in, I wanted this red chair forever, and I bought this red chair for myself.
So that feels good, doesn't it?
Right? Yeah. Got my red chair.
That's a good story.
My story.
The whole 16 months thing, I don't even think and here's what's fun. When we did this coffee and coaching last week, and we just kind of out of the gate just sort of shared our stories, there were pieces of your stories, all of you, that you shared that I'm like, how did I not know that? And I've known all of you forever. I did not know that in 16 months you had replaced you had matched your elementary school teaching income. And that is cool. So when people say, gosh, it's just not possible to really build this business or be a success in this business, you would say to them,
Yes, it is. And I had 2 really small kids doing it while I was doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, April, you want to share?
I have 2 computers going on right now. So let me move this aside. So my story about income is a little bit different than just an elementary school teacher. But when we had Grace, I was not going to go into the classroom anymore, which I soon realized is a good thing for me personally. But what I wanted to talk about was how the Beachbody income for me made things possible. As far as one day I would like to go do that, or one day I would like to, or how do we pay for a vacation, or how do we supplement our income in a way that can help provide, I guess, just extra things for our family that we wouldn't necessarily have in our everyday budget. My husband, when I was starting my business, my husband was also starting his own business. He owns his own company, and things were tight. And I was stay-at-home mom doing the whole mom duties, but this gave me the ability to stay at home and also help provide, again, in the very beginning, it was so simple. It was very progressive as it grew, but in the beginning, it was getting groceries and knowing that I had enough to get every item on my grocery list, and not just the cheapest item on the grocery list, and not the generic, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted to be able to get the Toll House chocolate chips because they are the best in chocolate chip cookies. So for me, it was little things like that I was able to get those things in the beginning. And then as my business grew, I was able to see the potential, and my husband saw the potential. And again, it was me helping fill the gaps in that we weren't necessarily having with his business being a startup for himself. And it just grew over time. And the one thing that I really remember that was a big thing for me, like I said last week, the Disney trip was the very first trip that we went on because of Beachbody as a reward. And the following year, or the following 2 years, I can't remember exactly, we were going on spring break with the family, and each kid was taking a friend because the boy and girl, and they needed a friend for themselves. Anyway, I wanted to go a few days early and go to Disney World, and I was going to pay for that. So I set it all up. So there's 4 of us in my family plus 2 friends. So there's 6 of us that were going to Florida for Disney World. And I planned it out, and I divided it up and just kind of reverse engineered what I was going to need. And I figured out the tickets, how much they were going to cost for those 2 days, 2 days of tickets, a hotel stay, Disney property stay, and food and everything. And I remember that being like the coolest thing that I could do, because it was, the spring break trip was planned, but this was like a bonus thing that I was able to help do and plan. And when those like bracelets came in the mail for the first time and the different colors, and I was just so excited to be like, I helped make that happen. And it was just special to me. And I think it's another Disney memory that I'll never forget, being able to help provide that. And it was just magical. It was so magical.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I just saw Ashley McClellan, who, as we know, is not on our team, but is another coach in Team Beachbody. And she had just taken her team as a reward to Disneyland. So they must live closer to Disneyland. And I saw her post this week. So she's back, and I saw her post this week that she really does well with something that she's pushing towards, like a tangible goal that she's pushing towards. So she woke up, whatever day this week, I saw her post with this clarity that she knew what it was. She knew exactly what it was. And it was Disneyland annual passes. That's what she was going to work and build. That's what she's helping people and connecting people with these products and programs and solutions that work. And as she's doing so, she's helping her family. And that tangible item that she's kind of got at the top of her hill is, I'm buying Disneyland annual passes. And I'm like, you go, Ashley. That's so cool to have something like that is so tangible, because you either get there or you don't. And there's a much greater chance that on the days where maybe she doesn't feel like working her business or inviting someone or showing up in whatever way that means in your business, that when she thinks about those Disneyland annual passes for her family, chances are she's going to show up, because it's pretty big. So that's probably how you felt too.
Absolutely. And when you can like visualize it and you like have a date with it, like for us, it was spring break. It wasn't like, it turned that Sunday into, let's make this happen. Mm-hmm. And I think the beauty about this business is I didn't have to get in my car, drive to maybe a part-time job or something like that, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to be able to still be present at home, mm-hmm. and be able to supplement my income and our family's income at that stage. And I was able to do that because it's so, you can just do it anywhere. Like you can work anywhere and you don't have to, you can be present, mm-hmm. and be working all at the same time.
And the time is so, speaking as someone who's now I'm in my home alone, the time goes so quickly that you do want to be there as much as possible for all those moments. And Kate, you'll probably talk about this, your post tonight was so great about how you had missed that moment and you created a life where you don't want to miss those moments. And sometimes when you are working full-time outside the home, even at a occupation that you might love, even when I taught high school, even when I hated grading papers, but I loved teaching Shakespeare, there were still these times, it has to be my daughter. It is, of course it's my daughter. Can you hear that? It's always my daughter that calls. It's always my daughter that calls during these. But here's the beauty. It's at home, so I just hit decline. But I think that even when you're doing a job you love, like when I was teaching high school, I enjoyed it for that time, but there's still pieces of your kids' lives that you miss, and you don't get that back. And while you don't want to be like hovering all the time and be with them all the time, there are those moments like Kate, what you posted about earlier, that you didn't want to miss. So, Jamie was able to stay home and completely match her income. And April was able to create this incredible special experience for her kids that your kids know their mom did, which I think is really powerful in 2019 for kids to understand that. And Kate, why don't you share a little bit of the memory that you had posted about today? Because I thought it was so good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so super ironic. On our last coffee and coaching, I talked about sometimes we work in our car because we have to make it fit for what it is. And the best thing that I love about coaching is how flexible it is, and how I'm here for my kids. You want to pop in? My little sweaty. This is my youngest son, little sweaty kid. Like he's coming in for just running around through practices. We just work when we can in these little pockets of time. And so I worked actually while he was at practice, and now we're doing this. And so just reiterating that little aspect of it and how flexible it is, because really, that is like my main thing. I needed a job where I could bring in a couple $1,000 extra per month, because that was the supplemental income that I needed at that time. And that was that opportunity that I asked my husband if I could get, I don't even, I hate to use the word ask my husband, but as a family, we were, you have to make those financial decisions together. So getting his buy-in, and so I don't want to say discussing what I wanted to make sure and get his buy-in for that to work with coaching. And so I could be as flexible, because his job isn't as flexible. So I could be as flexible as what it is. And so I kind of wanted to talk about, that got me to that point where I was making that income, but I really wanted to reiterate on this call, as we're talking about income, that without making an impact on someone's lives, you can't really make an income. So it's really want to talk about how much we are needed as coaches, and from Beachbody. But like back in the day, Beachbody was around an infomercial business, right? We talked about the last time on Coffee and Coaching, how Jamie had bought Insanity off the infomercial late at night, and that was what spearheaded her 65-pound loss. But that she had never finished it. Am I right, Jamie? Like, you had actually never finished it, but that's what was going on in the Beachbody world, how they were able to sell the product, but they needed some form of accountability to get people to finish it. And that's what I think is so amazing about our job, is that we do get to make an impact on people and then make an income for ourselves as well. So once they brought in coaches, and then we all kind of discussed it, we all finished programs. We all got the results. The tools were already there, but then, the world as a whole needs us to make that impact in order for us to make the income. So while I just wanted to add, that is an amazing thing that we get to have these flexible jobs, make an income, we're making that impact, and that's needed, right? So that's kind of, I already kind of shared my story about how I've been a coach and being able to stay and be flexible and get that income. I just wanted to reiterate though, that how much we're needed and what that impact does, that impact that we're helping people get the results, and therefore we get that income.
Because even when you think about it on a kind of an esoteric scale, you think, okay, so that you help someone lose, let's speak at it from the physical point first. You help someone lose 10 pounds and they get their nutrition a little bit dialed in. Well, what automatically happens? They're a little more patient. They're a little bit happier. They're a little bit kinder. They're a little bit more confident. Okay, so then what's that start to do? That starts to trickle into their family probably. Then what's that start to do? That starts to help their family have greater results. And then what's that start to do? That goes out into the world. So as you're saying, Kate, like, we really are needed. There is no end time that health and fitness will go out of style, just like hairdressers. I always need Travis to do my hair from now until the end of time. We will always need someone to talk about health and fitness, because it is such a game changer on the cellular level for your life, that when you're talking about how we get to make this impact, it's so true that what we get to do simply by helping someone connect with a program, dial in their nutrition a little bit, find some accountability in their life, and maybe make some income of their own, how that can exponentially change their life on such a scale. It's almost hard to wrap your head around the ripple effect that we have. And then we also get to help our own families too. So it's a really cool job. I don't know why everyone's not doing it. I feel like when I came in the business, I was probably the one who needed the financial piece the most, even though I didn't know it was there. We were super duper poor, super duper. My husband is a college football coach. He has 2 master's degrees. I was a high school English teacher. So one would think that those kinds of jobs would lend itself to not being super poor, but unfortunately, in this world, they do. And we struggled a lot financially. And of course, we moved a lot in the beginning, because that's kind of what you do in college coaching. And one of our moves, we decided I would stay home once you get 3 kids, childcare, craziness. And that really becomes a struggle to get to the end of the month with these bills, especially as the girls started to get older and started to find their own passions. And as they explored activities and extracurricular activities, and then started diving into stuff that really set their heart on fire, it quickly became apparent that this was going to be an issue. And then I left high school teaching and became a fitness instructor at the Y. So that was a big jump up in income. Yeah. And it's funny when you talk about spouse support and getting your spouse buy-in. I am lucky that, although let's be real, he is super, super lucky that I even said yes. So let's just start right there. But no, I am very lucky that I have a husband who understands the whole kind of follow your heart, because in a family of bankers, he's a college football coach. So he is very definitely the black sheep, kind of followed his heart too. And so I think he got that I'm like, this fitness thing, it's awesome. I don't know where it's going or what's happening, but it feels really cool. And so when the coaching opportunity presented itself, I just remember coming home and going, I feel like this is what I'm already doing with fitness. It just, maybe it's a bigger scale. And so it did allow me to take a love of fitness that I already have and take it into a broader platform. But if you look at the majority of successful coaches in this network, they come to the business with zero fitness experience and zero business experience. I came into the business as a fitness instructor and a master trainer. I am the rarity. A lot of people will come in, fall in love with fitness even more, and maybe get certified and teach. I kind of came at it from the other way. So I was already teaching fitness classes, making $11 an hour at the Y. And so this allowed me to expand that, but make a little bit more money. So when I'm telling you that, remember that's my story, and it doesn't have to be everyone's story. In fact, it's the majority of not. Most of us come with no fitness experience, but I will tell you that as a high school English teacher, fitness instructor, I had zero business experience. And growing up, I had zero people in my life who were building their own business, and I had zero women in my life who were doing anything other than being a wife and a mom, which is a beautiful thing, but that's all I saw. So it's always interesting to me, probably for all of us too, that when we grew up, I don't think any of us saw a female CEO in our family, in our lives. My town was 1,200 people. I had a cornfield in my backyard. Ain't no woman was a CEO in that little tiny town, let me tell you. So, sometimes you don't just have to see it. You just have to decide you want to be it and become it. And step by step, I started to see the potential in the business. It was a long, slow haul. Nothing happens overnight. That first check was $38, but a couple of years into the business. So let me say that again, a couple of years, not 2 months and not 6 months, a couple of years into the business, I remember getting a check for $1,000. And I remember exactly where I was sitting at a really old, gross desk in the kitchen that is now long gone. And I remember calling my husband when I saw that amount show up in my Coach Online office. And I remember calling him and saying, so I'm going to pay our mortgage for this month with my Beachbody check. And I'm probably going to get one that's pretty similar to that next week. And he's like, I'm in, let's go. And so all of a sudden he was exponentially more in, which I say that just because I think females who get into side hustle businesses, often their spouse, male or female, is sometimes the more skeptical one. And even though my husband's living a life that was definitely the black sheep in his family as a football coach, it was still like, what is this fitness thing and how's this going to make any money? And when that happened, that $1,000 check happened, it was like, okay, so now it makes sense. There's often one partner who's a little more numbers. For me, I'm all heart and emotion, and this is amazing, and we can change lives. It's like, awesome, how are we going to pay our bills? And so when the two came together, and it was very obvious that they were going to come together, then he's like, all right, this is going to work. And the other piece I want to talk on just for a moment on that, and it's kind of a digression, but I think it's really important to say because we're talking about spousal support. Here's the piece I hear a lot, and I'm going to speak from the woman's point of view because I'm a female and in a male-female relationship, so that's just the point of view that I'm going to speak on because that's my story, that the women will say to me, well, my husband doesn't support me. My husband doesn't support me. And my response is, have you even asked what support looks like? Have you thought about what support looks like? Because your spouse's view of support in their head may be very different than what your view of support is. For a lot of women in their head, they may have this little storybook view of my husband and I are going to get up and we're going to drink our Energize together. And then we're going to go downstairs to the basement and we're going to press play together. Then we're going to come up, we're going to make cute little shakes and we're going to cheers each other. It's going to be so awesome. And that's how he's going to support me. I would rather gouge my eyeball out than work out with my husband. And so I'm okay that none of that happens, but that also is not what support looks like. to me. And so we had to have that conversation, like, here's what I'm going to need from you with regards to support. And he's going to watch ESPN Classic and I'm not, and I'm still going to love and support him as a football coach. So I just needed him to ask me how my business was doing and be positive. You know, I don't need him to work out with me. So if you're saying, well, my husband, my spouse doesn't support me, I need you to take a really good hard look at what that means, no matter what side hustle, no matter what business that you're doing, no matter what you're doing in life. Instead of just saying, well, they don't support me, so I can't do it. Why don't you ask them what that kind of looks like in your marriage, in your life, in your relationship? And maybe you just need to communicate what support actually looks like, regardless. And once you've had that conversation, then we're okay. When he comes home on Thursday night and wants to eat Jack's Pizza and watch ESPN Classic, I'm out. I'm upstairs, probably watching Hallmark. And we're both okay with that. We're super okay with that. He does not think that I love him less because I'm not sitting on the couch watching ESPN Classic with him. So really discuss that, because then as you get into this business and you're building this business and you're creating income, that's going to come up again. Because as you start to see the potential, as I could see that I could now pay for Josie's point shoes, I could now see that I could pay for Jenna to go on the band trip. I could see that I could now pay for Jesse to take voice lessons. When I could start to see that, and then that might mean I would have to work a little more, a little differently, then that communication being open is so important, because it's now very obvious that here's what I'm doing and here's what it's doing in our family. So I just think that you've really got to communicate to your spouse what your goals are with this business, what you want to do with it as you start to see the potential, and say, listen, on Monday nights, I'm going to work for 2 hours. And here's what's going to happen. In Ashley McClellan's case, I'm going to work for 2 hours and that money's going to go to buy Disneyland annual passes. Or for April, that was going to, purchase that Disney trip. For Jamie, it was going to help her stay home. For Kate, it gives you flexibility to stay home. So communicating that and setting those goals of what you can do with your business, I think keeps us all on track as to what we can do. But the truth is, we don't really know what we can do with this business till we actually step in and say yes and start to work. And we all want to overcomplicate everything. Humans in general, women especially, we want to overcomplicate everything. We want to come in, we think we need to have all the business knowledge, we need to know everything in the Coach Online office. No, you don't. You need to come in, you need to press play on a program. You need to drink Shakeology, drink the performance line. You need to fill your heart and your head with some good personal development, and you need to share your journey with others. And if you do that authentically and organically, just because you are on a journey and you want to take others with you on this journey, and as you start to feel better, you want others to feel good too. When you do that, you can create a business that changes lives, that makes an impact, that therefore makes an income. All four of us came into this business with zero business experience. Zero. Jamie, in 16 months, replaced her job for which she'd gone to college for. If we could just absorb that again for a moment. It's so crazy. So you can come into this business with zero business experience, work hard, share authentically, and make an impact, which then will turn into income that can change your family's life. If you would have told me 11 years ago that I would be sending 3 girls to college on this little fitness business that I was starting, I would have said you were insane. And 11 years later, it's happening. It doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean I don't have to work. It doesn't mean we don't have to budget. It doesn't mean that you still, have to sacrifice or say no to this so you can say yes to this. But what I no longer have to do is make up reasons why my children can't do things. I don't have to tell Jenna anymore, you can't do that trip because we think you're too young to do it, when in reality we just couldn't afford it. I don't have to do that anymore. I can actually send 3 girls to college because of this fitness business. So don't doubt that it can happen for you. The 4 of us are living proof that you can come into a business with no experience, work hard, figure it out, tap into the team and into the resources, and create the income that you want to create, which might be just covering your Shakeology, or it might be taking your family to Disney. You get to decide that. That is in your power. But none of it happens until you say yes. So we're hoping that the last 90 days of the year, the last 90 days of a decade, is the perfect opportunity for you to take a leap, to take that jump. Because really, what do you have to lose? Maybe a few pounds? Cool. But what do you have to gain? because whether you stay with Beachbody for 11 years or 6 years or 7 years or whatever, or however long you stay, we think that this business, this community, these products and programs will enhance your life in every way, including financially, if you let it. And we are here to show you we are living proof of that. Thank you so much for being on tonight. If you have any questions whatsoever, just drop them in the comments below. We will answer them. We will get back to them. This group will remain open if you want to come back and watch this. It's here, and we will be back next week. And next week, we are talking about travel. So tune in to next week's edition of Coffee and Coaching, where we'll be talking about how we travel with this business. Have a great night.
Bye.